This is Two Teachers Chat with your hosts, Brenda McCrate and Peggy Wilbur.
We are Two Teachers Chat.
Yes, indeed.
And what's today's question?
Today's question is, what do I do? How do I make sure that every child, I've taught to every child in a lesson?
The best thing I can suggest is to try to teach to all the senses that you can. That's what we all want to do in every lesson, and there's no silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that learning is tied to our senses.
Okay.
So we want to use all the senses that we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Taste can be a little difficult, although lessons where you get to eat stuff are always popular.
Mm-hmm.
Smell can be helpful even, but the three main areas are going to be visual, auditory, and then touch or movement, kinesthetic is what we call it. So you want to try to build those in to every lesson. Now, depending on what your strength is, you'll lean towards that. For instance, I'm very auditory, and when I first started teaching, I hate to say it, I lectured all the time. Or I wanted to just have conversations with children because that's how I learn.
Right.
And I apologize to that class of fifth graders, just saying.
Right. So we might lean towards our preferred style of teaching, and I would guess a lot of teachers like to talk.
They
and
do.
Are auditory, which means the children get, sort of a one-faceted learn by listening.
Very often.
Yep. Which then we other children lose out because it might be that some of our students or a lot of our students are second language students, and then when we add a visual dimension to it, we empower the lesson.
We do. And we empower all those visual learners, which are becoming more and more of our society.
Right.
So adding a visual to everything that you talk about is extremely important and not really hard. One thing that really visual teachers do, which is great for everybody, is they make anchor charts. So as they're talking, they're drawing or building or creating a chart that goes up in the room. Just simple chart paper and slap it up there. And if you make it with the kids have even more buy-in. So it's important to make it with the kids and then put it up in the room and have it. And then the piece that a lot of teachers forget is the movement, the kinesthetic. And, if you're using science and you're doing hands-on science, well, it's built into the lesson. They're in the experiment. They're building the thing, whatever it is. Sometimes math, because the more manipulatives you can give to kids, make it concrete. Math is so stinking abstract, and you gotta make it concrete, and those manipulatives help. But what about reading or writing or anything? Well, a simple kinesthetic movement. So for instance, periods at the ends of sentences.
Yes.
Okay. So this is what I do with my kids. We read the sentence. John went to the store, period. John went to the store, period. Okay, what sentence do you want to write? Tell me. John went to the store, period. Good, write it. We did not forget our periods. And you will see my children quietly going, and then they'll write something because they have a kinesthetic for periods.
Yes.
And it's so simple to do that for almost anything. Just put your brain power to it and find a movement. It doesn't really matter what, because as long as you use the same one every time, they will get it. Yes. And it helps those body kids that need the kinesthetic.
There are quite a few, and you can choose one, hand motions that go with the alphabet that you can find on YouTube. People have already done this, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But it delights the children, and it adds an added movement memory piece, which, your movement memory part of your brain is here, so that when they're recalling a letter sound and it's matched with a movement, then they have so much more potential to quickly recall it accurately. So, wonderful having movements.
Yeah. And really, if you're doing something visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and then we've talked about this before, letting the children talk so that the verbal piece is there as well, you're hitting 99% of your students every lesson, and you're engaging them because there's something in that lesson that hits home with them.
So it becomes an interactive lesson.
Yes.
Instead of them sitting at their seats and just listening, which for some children with auditory processing issues would be their weakest link for learning. Tell us about having the children talk it.
Well, when you've taught something, first of all, everybody has a certain amount of time that they can focus, and it's not really that long. Age plus
Very
a minute,
short.
I think.
Yes.
And then adults, I give up 12 minutes. But if you pace your lesson, so you're doing the model and the we do where they get to talk. So the model is not more than the 5 minutes for a kindergartner or the 8 minutes for a third grader.
Right.
And then you're saying, okay, so now do this with me, everybody. And choral. I love to just say, everybody say it. Everybody say it. Make the motion and everybody say it, because then you've got them engaged. If you're everyone needs to raise their hand and wait to be called on, teacher, sorry, you've lost most of your kids. The kids who already knew it have their hands raised.
Right.
The kids who don't know it don't have their hands raised and are hoping against hope you don't call on them.
Yes.
And the other kids are somewhere in the middle. And if you don't call on them because they didn't raise their hand, then they've lost their engagement. But when you say, everybody say it with me, everybody do it, and you allow that freedom, it will become automatic. And there will be times when the whole class is shouting an answer and you don't want it, and you have to tell them, okay, this is the time we need to raise our hands. But engage, and let them talk with each other during the we do. Here's the problem. Work with a partner, talk to a partner. When you and your partner have the answer, show me the heart sign, put your thumb over your heart. Good. Keeps kids quiet. Also keeps this thing from happening.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I know you have it. And you'll nudge. You'll go, oh, good.
Yeah.
Good, you've got it. Just a minute. And then you can wait for that last child to finally get their thumb up. And then you can either have them say the answer together, or you can show them the answer and say how many got this, or however you want to do it. But the more it's centered around them and not around you, the more learning is going to happen. Teaching can always happen, but sometimes learning doesn't happen because teaching is too centered around the teacher. So center it around the kids, let them talk, keep them involved, try to do visual, auditory, and kinesthetic in every single lesson. And it will come more automatically, especially the kinesthetic will start to come automatically. You'll just start making motions for things. That's what happened to me anyways. And then have fun with your teaching, and your kids will have fun with their learning.
Wonderful.
And I'm ready for more coffee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for watching 2 Teachers Chat. Until next time, and remember, teachers touch lives forever.